Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gauranga Hare Hare
Adjust that? Do you need to adjust that? Adjust the microphone? Is it okay?
Yeah. Is it okay?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
It's good.
Okay, so good evening everybody and Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
September 6th.
Today?
6, 2016. Brajarani, I'm just for the recording. Radharani speaking.
Okay.
Being recorded two different ways. Visually and audio.
Yeah. So, really happy to see all of you. It's wonderful today, especially today. It's a very special celebration that we're doing. I think the last program that we have here, we celebrated Janmashtami. That was Krishna's appearance day. And this time we're celebrating Radhashtami, which is Radharani's appearance day. And so,
There she is.
who is she? Wow, see, that's a picture of Radharani, right? She's blow up our mind, actually. She's beyond, she's the feminine aspect of God. We'll explain a little bit more about that. But before I go further, I'm wondering, anyone here can tell me, so who is Radharani? Does anyone know who is Radharani?
Krishna's consort.
Krishna's consort, yes. Yeah, if you see, you'll see a deity of Krishna standing there. He's always playing the flute, and next to him there's a feminine female, right? We say there's always a couple. It's always two, like you see Bonnie and Pete, they're out for a date tonight here. Right? So there's a couple, right? We said it's complete. Then, they say yin yang or whole, the whole complete relationship. Say God is not just male, He's female too. Everything emanates from God, right?
Can we say that Radha is also Hari Krishna, Radha Krishna? Can we say that?
Yes.
Hari.
Yeah, Hari means an energy of Krishna. Right? So Radharani is actually an energy of Krishna. She's called the Ladini Shakti. Shakti means energy. Ladini means the pleasure potency. So she's the pleasure potency energy, or the feminine aspect of God. And God is God, but He can expand Himself. So Radharani, basically He expanded Himself, right, to this feminine aspect. And why is that? We'll go deeper. Again, Radharani is actually such a rare, amazing topic that actually she's very secret. It's a secret. It's not for everyone. It's top secret. So all of you here today are going to get to hear the top secret. This is when I say top secret, I mean really top secret, right? It's not just something with the government. You're really getting to know the highest, deepest aspects about, everything, right? The material and spiritual world. It's like that's the deepest mysteries we're going to go into. Radharani is like she unlocks the deepest mysteries about spirituality. So just as Lord Krishna is the source of all other expansions, Radharani, she's the source of all the expansions of the Shaktis or energies of God. Right? So there's some people, you heard of Durga? Heard of Durga? How many of you have heard of Durga? Quite a few, right? She's known as the kind of ferocious goddess. You see her sometimes it's scary, right? People see her. She is in charge of the material energy, right? She's given the job to take care of the material energy, which is, right, she's got the thankless task. Her task is to test all of us here in the material world, those of us who have left God and come here to test us to see, are we really genuine back? Have we had enough, tasted enough of this material world's kicks, and do we really want to go back home, back to Godhead, where we truly belong, or where we can actually, the only place that we can actually live happily ever after? Because all the other things are temporary, right? No one ever escapes from one industry. So Durga Devi Mahamaya, her job is to make sure she tests us. Once we come to this material world and then we've had some realization and we think, you know what, just like a child who's gone astray from home, he's a teenager, he wants to go and try it out, he doesn't really, the parents keep telling him, no, stay in our protection, I know better. And then once he's gone out there, he gets bitten, he comes back, like that. So just like that, and we come back to Krishna, Durga Devi's job is to see if we are really genuine. She makes sure we're really genuine. If we're not genuine, she keeps giving us the slaps in this world, the kicks. Right? We keep getting the kicks until we get, there must be something better in life. There must be something more, wise life. There must be something better. So when we get all these kicks from Durga Devi, and she keeps testing us to see how genuine our desires. A lot of us do say we want, spirituality, we want to be with God, we want to be, spiritual people, religious people, we want to have a connection with God, we are, had enough of the sufferings in this world. But when it comes to the crunch of it, right, I know I can tell for myself, right, that, I wish I could sleep a bit longer than get up and pray early in the morning, and, I say, God, I really just want you, I'm not so interested, but when I'm really tested, then it's like, no, really, I just want the security of a home and, the comforts of a home, and I need a car, and I need a decent, then I'm not really truly depending on God. So Durga Devi's job, she takes care. You say you want God, right? Do you really trust Him? Right? Trusting Him requires sometimes putting your hands up even when things aren't that good. To put my hands up and trust and say, like, I'm going to go through this and I'm going to trust at the end of it, I will come out good by the grace of God. But it's that period when we have to actually show our sincerity, our faith. That's when Durga Devi comes and tests us. Now she is just a material, in charge of the material energy. And then there are many Shaktis. There's in the Vaikuntha planets what we call the Lakshmi, the goddesses of fortune. All the goddesses of fortune are also an energy and expansion of Srimati Radharani, right? And then we also have above that, in the spiritual world, we have what we call Yoga Maya. Yoga Maya is also, she's in charge of the spiritual energy. Now her job, like in the material world, Durga Devi or Mahamaya, her job is try to, purify us, right? Whereas in the spiritual world, Durga Maya's job is try to intensify the relationships between, God and his part and parcels. So, so that's a little bit about how Radharani, she's beyond what we can fathom. She's just beyond what we can fathom. However, just a little bit, just to get a drops. She's not even mentioned even in our main, what we call the cream of all the scriptures, Srimad Bhagavatam that we have there. That's the cream of the cream, they said, of all the scriptures. It's got like almost anything you want. When you go up there, you can find out how the creation started. Any questions in life about spirituality, you pretty much get all your answers there. But Radharani's name, and it talks about one whole canto is all about Krishna and his pastimes. But Radharani, his feminine aspect, is hardly, her name is not even mentioned there even once directly. It's only indirectly her name's once mentioned there. And it's indirectly mentioned as Aradhana. Aradhana means worship. The name Radha means one who worships God. So if you really want to worship God, she is the person we got to, follow. Because she is the embodiment of that. Right? She's the embodiment of love and devotion and worship to God or Krishna. So Radharani, actually prior to this Kali Yuga, they didn't even have any, if you go to other temples of Krishna, you would not even see a deity of Radharani there. You would only see deities of Krishna. Radharani deity only came into the picture after Lord Chaitanya, who is the incarnation of Krishna in this age, or what we call the dark age of Kali. He's come down in this age, and the reason he's come down is he's saying, hold on a minute. He said, I'm God. He's the one who's like blissful beyond anyone, the joyful, happy, no one is more blissful. But he says, I see this Radharani, she is more blissful than me. She is just, how is that? I'm God. Of course, she's expansion of God herself. But she's that part of God where it's full of pleasure. She's called the Ladini Shakti, or the pleasure potency. So he's saying, she is much more blissful than me. What is it that she's getting that I'm not getting? And he realized, he says, there's only one thing greater than God, and that is love of God, or love and devotion to God. And because she is fully in love with God and fully devoted to God and fully worshipping God, she is more blissful than Krishna. And Krishna said, hold on a minute, I want to taste that. I want to taste that bliss she is feeling. So he incarnated in this particular yuga, this Kali age, this dark age, as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We see that picture there. Also the smaller deities that we have up there. She incarnated, Krishna incarnated as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to taste the nectar, the bliss, the ecstasy that Radharani is getting of feeling. Right, so they said, there's no mention about Radharani in the whole of Srimad Bhagavatam. Is the cream of the cream of the cream of all the scriptures. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he came down, he unlocked the deepest mysteries about this feminine aspect of God, or this pleasure potency of God, this Ladini Shakti. And it's since that time that Radharani, actually it was the wife of Lord Nityananda, who is one of the 5 people who incarnated in this age. His wife named Januva Devi, she was actually a guru in our line. This lady was the spiritual leader at that time. And she is the one who first installed the deities of Radha next to Krishna. And she said, this is the highest form of worship. She says, this is the deepest form of worship God. So, as I said, when the author of the Vedic scriptures, Srila Vyasadeva, when he compiled the Vedic scriptures, he compiled it in such a way to elevate people of different levels of consciousness according to a person's particular level of awareness and inclination. As we say, God comes down at different times, different places, different circumstances, for different reasons, to cater, to help all of us in this world who are suffering and struggling according to the time, place and circumstances and the people's ability, awareness, consciousness and inclinations. So he sent Jesus Christ, he sent Prophet Muhammad, he sent our spiritual teacher, he sent, he comes down himself in different forms. We say it's Krishna, it's Rama, all to help us according to what we are ready for. Just like we have different levels of schools, right? You can drop out in high school, or you're not going there, some want a degree, some want a PhD. So Krishna gives us deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. So Vyasadeva compiled the Vedic scriptures to help people in the mode of ignorance to come up to one level higher, to at least the mode of passion. Ignorance are the people who are in a very dark mode. People who are just dull and dark, they just maybe drowned in drugs and smoking, drinking, and they can't even think, they're so dull. They just live in this really dark place and they suffered like depression. This is all mode of ignorance. It's just to help them come one notch up higher. There are scriptures for that, to bring them up to the mode of passion. And then he has scriptures to bring them higher. For those who are already in the mode of passion, that means they are, they're not so dull, but they're doing things, but they're always wanting this name, fame, glory, and, bigger car and more money and more comforts in this world and blah, blah, blah. They just, And then for those people, but then still at the end of the day, they are not happy. You heard of BBC? In England, we have BBC. They are like one of the top, I don't know what you call that in America, but this is like one of the top television channels. Yeah, broadcasting, that's right, thank you. Bonnie, my savior. Yeah, broadcasting channel. So they did a survey and a research to go around to find out which is the most happiest country in the world. The top 10 happiest countries in the world. And you know what? America is not even one of the top 10s.
Right.
You agree, Gary's going like that, but we are richest, right? America here, we got the most economically, financially, materially. We are very advanced, technology, right? So in the material sense, this is one of the richest countries. And you know what? Which country turned out to be the top country or the top place that's most happy?
India.
Huh? What's that?
Denmark?
Denmark? Anyone else?
India, wasn't it?
Huh?
Isn't it India?
It's a particular place.
It's up in near the Himalayas.
It's a place in India called Bangladesh.
Oh my God.
Yes, oh my God, yes, you can say that. Bangladesh is one of the poorest parts of India or the world. But it says the people there are the most happiest. Why is that?
They have a relationship with God. They have they're on a path to love and worship Him.
It's not even up to that level, but they are a embodiment of how they have very nice relationships amongst themselves. They're very nice, close unit families, relationship. If you go to Bangladesh, you'll see everybody is very warm, smiling. We went to Bangladesh sometimes to go, visited there, and we went what we call a Harinam party, a group of devotees, like, you remember 4th of July, we all got together and chanted and sing God's names and went down the streets. Now, a lot of these Bangladeshi people are Muslims, who, Hindus, they have an issue there, but there, when we went chanting, they came running out of their doors, sprinkling water on the ground because it was really hot day, so they worried that the floor would be hot. They're sprinkling cold water, and then they threw flower petals at us, and then they started getting like a ghee lamp. That's a way, like putting a light, like it's like a kind of worship. And they were so warm and welcoming and personal. They had such nice relationships with, and that is the source of why in the material world that's the happiest country. So I was talking about Srila Vyasadeva, who wrote the Vedic scriptures, who compiled Vedic scriptures, and he wrote them, different aspects to bring people one notch up higher, losing ignorance to passion, passion to goodness. Goodness are people who live a life of, goodness means people who are highly cultured, moral, religious. They do good things. They want to be good to everyone. Philanthropic work, and they're good, good people, right? Like when we go to church, Pastor Posters, a lot of the people we do Wednesday group, they're all very good people. They all, like you were telling me, Joni was supposed to come today. It's a shame she's not here. It's a pity. What he was saying, she's a giver. They're very good people. They like to give. They want to do things that are, charitable. So that's the mode of goodness. But from the mode of goodness, even it's still considered in the material plane, in the sense, if we're doing the good for people just on the level of helping them in terms of their body. Because the body comes to an end. The body will come to an end. So that means you can only help them to the degree, like you say, skin deep, as long as the body is alive. But the body comes to an end. Right? So that's just goodness. I say above that comes to the level of spirituality or transcendence, where you're helping someone on the soul level. On the soul level, that's eternal help. That's eternal benefit. That's charity that's given to the person that will be eternally to their benefit. And that's transcendental. So some people who've had enough of this world are coming to that spiritual plane and, transcendental plane. But even from those who are seeking transcendence, there are different levels. I think Maheshwar's done a chart that says God's realization of God in different levels. He calls it Brahman level, the Paramatma level, and then the Bhagavan level. The Brahman level is the level of the energy of God. It's almost like he's the rays that emanate from his body. And some people, they just want to merge into that ray. Right? They call it liberation, but it's a type of liberation that they actually seek to annihilate their own identity in oneness with Brahman, with that energy of God. But that's just like entering into the energy of God. Even this material world is an energy of God, but it's what we call the inferior energy of God. In the spiritual world, there's the energy of God. That's the superior energy of God. They just want to annihilate, merge into that. I think last Sunday we went to a program to one of the Hindu temples. We decided to do a field trip. I think Marguerite was there, Laurie came, Robert came, Buffy was there, and Ed was there, and Sarva was there. So we went field trip just to hear this person. It says this person, they advertised him as a man who has studied all the Vedic scriptures, the Vedanta. He's studied all the Vedanta. He stayed in an ashram in India. He lived there, for 3 years, and he studied the whole Vedanta. And he came out and he gave this talk. And guess what was his talk? What was the end goal of his talk? Buffy, Robert, Laurie, come on, tell me. What did you hear? Margaret?
His end goal was to believe that he was God.
Okay. Robert?
So that we can become one with everything. That's what he said.
We can become...
The ultimate realization to him, and he says, the Gita says, is that it's just to become one with everything. That's what he said.
Right. Become one with everything. Right? Just merge into, annihilate your identity, become one with the energy. Right? And that means you're losing your own identity. You just merge into that. Sometimes people take onto this path, and he says, we are all gods. You're God. I am God. So I said to him, so why am I worshipping God if I'm God? And Sarva said something. He says, I can't even put my socks properly on or tie my lace properly on. How can I be God? And, he was saying it in a funny way. And our spiritual master, Bhaktivedanta Swami, sometimes challenged a person who said, I'm God, you're God, we're all God. He's challenged him, if you're really God. He says, how come you can't even control your bowels through when you need to go to the toilet? Is that your conception about what God is? Why are we worshipping someone who don't even have that much control? It's silly, actually. It's quite sick. So, I mean, it's a way of saying God's not a person. He's just an energy. But the energy is just one aspect of God. Right? Just like we have the sunshine. We have a sun God. We have the sun rays. So the sun rays are like this energy of the God. It's just a Brahman. And, it's just like he's saying, just merge into that. Okay. A lot of time people take to that path because they get so disappointed with the material world and the life here that it's so painful and relationships in this world, have been so painful. People have had bad experiences that they just don't want to have anything more to do with relationships. So they just, Gary, that's one way of doing it. Just cut it out, right? We just merge into, Gary's like, just merge into this energy and we don't have to have relationships. But that's because we've had our bad experiences in the material world. And that's why we say we really got to understand when we're talking about Radharani's love. What is this love? So there are these different parts. There's people want to just merge into Brahman, and then there's the Paramatma level of realization of God. That level, people want to see God in their heart. Right? We say God is with us in our heart. He's with us all throughout. He's always with us. Whatever lifetimes, in whatever body we've come, He's always remained with us. Right? And so they try and realize God through different yogic processes. You got karma yoga, you got jnana yoga. Jnana yoga is true mental speculation, auto-speculating or studying this Vedanta. Like this guy you're talking about, he studied all the scriptures. And his ultimate goal was everything is, nothing is everything, we're all God and, that's it. You are that, he said. I said, that? Meaning what? You are that. That's his ultimate, right, answer. So Those then there's people with the yogic, different what you call processes of yoga who go try to realize God within the heart. They do these deep meditations and go in and they try and do these trying to find God in the heart, but they said that kind of path is very difficult for this age. To sit still for 5 minutes without the mind going astray, it's tough, right? So it's kind of not recommended for this age. So this age, our minds are so disturbed, everything is so difficult. It's impossible to realize God in that. Those days, people sat down for people lived longer. They sat down for 100 years, 20, 30 years and just meditated, and then suddenly they get this ray and, that realization. It's impossible now. But in one sense, we're in the worst age, but we got the greatest blessings, because when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who came down in the mood of Radharani, which is Krishna's feminine or pleasure potency energy, he came out, he said he's just burst open the storehouse of nectar or the deepest mysteries of spirituality. Now, why is this such a deep mystery? Because, now there's the path of bhakti. Bhakti means the path of love and devotion. So we say there's just different levels, right? There's level of Brahman realization, then the level of the Paramatma realization, and then the level of Bhagavan or realization of God as the Almighty, all-attractive, Supreme Lord. That is a very awe and reverence relationship. You see God in a very awe and reverence way, So it's very formal. And we say the relationship between God and the soul goes so deep, goes beyond that. You can have God as your child, because a mother's love for a child is very deep, very unconditional. You can have God in a loving relationship as a friend, because with a friend you can just high five and have fun and roll around the ground, and have real deep intimate, so you can have God with that sort of relationship. So this part of bhakti is taking you beyond that, even that Bhagavan concept. That Bhagavan means that the God is great. God is great, but we say it's more than that. And it's not just great. You can have deep, loving, intimate relationship with God. You can get deeper and more intimate. So that's friendship. Actually, they said the closest aspect of love in this material world to that in the spiritual world is the love of a mother for a child here. You know why? It's so unconditional. The child's been in the womb of the mother. There's a deep bond. Just like that, we are part and parcels of God. There's this deep bond, and that's why God loves us so unconditionally. No matter how much we forget Him, we reject Him, we try and enjoy separate from Him. We're like thieves. Everything belongs to God. It's just like me going up to one of you, right? And I say, Miguel's got a nice watch, and I just take it and start enjoying it, flashing it around. Hey, look at my watch. Right? God's given us everything. We take everything that belongs to Him, and then we enjoy it and try to not even acknowledge His presence or forget Him. We're just trying to enjoy it ourselves. So we're saying this aspect of God, mother's is very close, because child's in the womb and she serves the child, even though when the baby's young, all they do, we say they are in the what program? The eating, sleeping, pooping program. Nothing else, right? You don't get crying, yes. Add on to that, right? Don't get much, in the sense it's an austerity. They keep you awake all night. You have to be serving them all the time, right? And it takes a lot of unconditional love for a mother to do that. It's a big sacrifice, right? So God's love for us is because we are like part and parcels of God, just like a child is part and parcel of the mother. But that's one aspect, but even higher than that, we say, why is the relationship between two lovers? That's why we say this is such a top secret. Because that's something you don't go around telling the whole world. If you have an intimate relationship with your husband, your partner, your lover, it's not something you're going to go around announcing to everybody. That's a secret. That's an intimate, private thing between you and your lover. So that's why this part of love of God is so rare. It's such a secret treasure. It's very confidential. It's not to be put out for anyone and everyone. So God didn't come down and give this to any. Like I said, He came down according to time, place, circumstances, the ability of people, the level of people's awareness and consciousness to give them this. Now Radharani and Krishna came down as Lord Chaitanya in her mood to give the highest possible experience of direct, loving relationship with God. Try to just sink that in. Do we know what we're getting here? What Lord Chaitanya has come to give us? And what Srila Prabhupada, our teacher there, has come to give us? He's actually giving us something, some rare treasure, never ever, been given. And Radharani is the embodiment of that. She's the embodiment of compassion. How qualified they are or not. This age people are most unqualified, but he said, just give it to them because there's no other hope. And she said, make it really easy for them. They're not going to sit down and meditate for hundreds of years. They're not going to perform all these tough austerities. He says, just let them chant, dance, enjoy a feast, and hear wonderful philosophy. That's their program. It's made it so easy for us. And she's come down and she's given it. So the way that Prabhupada has given us, Lord Chaitanya has come to give us a way that we actually honor and celebrate Radharani's appearance in this world, and what she's come to give is through what we call Harinam Sankirtan, through the chanting of the holy names of God. Saying that's what, like Robert's saying, oh, so do we say Hare as also Radharani's name? Yes, Hare means the energy of Krishna. So when we chant what we see up here, the Hare Krishna mantra, which is called the king of all the mantras, we have Radharani's names first. Hare first. Radharani, one of Radharani's name is Hare. Hare means the energy of God. So, and we put her name first before we put Krishna's name. Right? So, Hare Krishna. Now we say Radha Krishna. We honor her first. And through her we go to Krishna. Because we can't directly reach Krishna. But she's so merciful. Through her we can get Krishna. Just like a mother, she's more. I think in Christianity you have a bit of the concept of Mother Mary. They're more. The women are supposed to be more soft-hearted, more kind, more gentle, more compassionate. So we go through her. It's so much easier to get to Krishna. And she is so merciful. She never forgets one little thing we do for her. So yeah, Radharani has many qualities. I'll give you a story. I mean, just celebrating this festival of Radhashtami, they said, is so powerful. It's so auspicious. There's a story in our scriptures about this, what we call a society girl, or in here, I guess you call it prostitute. She's, she's in the dark side. She's not really religious, and she's just walking past one day, strolling around, She went past like a church, a temple, and she see people really busy, and they were, kind of arranging flowers and decorating the place. And she said, "Hey, what's going on here? Some kind of festival?" She thought she might get some, some lots of people will be coming here, and somewhere she can flash around a bit. And they said, "Well, yeah, we are having a great festival here, but it's not a festival of, the hippie festival or, where it's just drugs and drinks and, here we're celebrating the festival of Radharani. She's the super most feminine aspect of God. And come on here." And they engaged her just a little bit to string some flowers to offer to Radharani. And she started enjoying it. So they were very cleverly because devotees, they want everyone to benefit from it. They want everyone to get big. No, Radharani. So she stayed there and she started to join and she participated in the festival. She said, "Wow, this was really great. This is fantastic. Everyone's really having a great time. Everyone's really so happy and blah, blah, blah." So she started joining in the singing and the chanting, Radharani's names, and she went out and she got bitten by a snake that day. And guess what? She got liberation. She had an opportunity to go back to Godhead because she got killed, and what we call the messengers of death, when they came to take her soul, Radharani said, "Don't you touch her. She just participated in my celebrating my festival. She did so much service. Don't touch her. She comes back to hers, back to Godhead." There's so much potency. She's so merciful. Like you can, all these things, and she's still forgiven. When you celebrate and participate in the festival. There's stories about Brajarani, pastimes when they came down to Earth planet. Their pastimes. I mean, there are reasons. God come to Earth planet to display these pastimes, the loving relationships he has in terms of when he came as Krishna in Vrindavan, to attract us back to this relationship with God. He wants us to get attracted again. He wants us, because that's where we will get the most happiness. The relationships in this world are temporary, and if they're just based on the bodily concept, it doesn't last. And there's so many problems because it's all based on selfishness. When it's based on selfishness, it's like, as long as you serve me and do what I say or what I like, then I'm with you, right? As soon as you don't do what I like or what I want to do, why you don't satisfy my senses, then I divorce you and I give you a hard time, right? Then you have, how many 60% of people in America are divorced? You hardly see couples, families. So yeah, it's all around in Kali Yuga. Because these relationships are not based on something eternal. It's based on some temporary selfish desires. Now the difference between these relationships in the spiritual world and the spiritually based relationships, like in Christianity, we put God in the center. Right? And here we try to put God in the center, Maheshwara and I. We put Krishna in the center. We give all our energies to trying to create a program to help people to connect with God. We wake up, morning, first thing we try and read, we chant about God. During the day we cook and we offer to God. Everything we do, we try to put Krishna in the center of our relationship. And Maheshwara is always absorbed in doing one project or another. That's always to enhance, his service to God. So we're putting God in the center. We try to do that 24 hours in the day. We say that's the only chance you really have to make a relationship, work. Or actually, otherwise, if the relationships are not based on spirituality or putting God in the center, they're all selfish. And the difference with the spiritual relationship is the opposite. It's selfless. It's so selfless that I tell you one pastime that happened when Krishna came to this world. He was, he wanted to show the glories of his devotees. So he's God. He doesn't really get headache. He pretended to have this real bad headache. And then he said, not even pretended, Yogamaya puts him into that, And he says, oh, and he says, and everyone was worried. He said, oh, we love God. What can we do? Everyone's around him. And, oh, what can we do to, help? We don't want. He says, well, there's only one thing that will cure my headache. And he says that one thing is, I need the dust from the feet of my devotee. And so this people went running around and went everywhere, asked all the devotees, can you give us the dust from your feet, because Krishna's got a headache, and the headache will only go if you put that dust from your feet on his head. I said, what? Are you crazy? They went right up to the great Saint Narad Muni. He's supposed to be what you call the spaceman, transcendental spaceman who goes from again. They went up to him and they says, hey, give us some dust from. He said, are you crazy? He says, give my dust to God? I will go to hell for doing that. How dare I even think about doing such a thing? And then they went up to the gopis, or these cowherd girls, these loving damsels. They all have a loving, what you call, conjugal relationship with God. And amongst them, the highest is Radharani. She's the most closest, intimate, loving relationship with God. Went up to her and they said, Krishna's got a headache. He needs some dust from the feet from his devotees. Nobody wants to give the dust from his feet. Will you give some dust from his feet? And she said, sure. Narad Muni was just trying out. She said, sure. Immediately take whatever you can. Go and give it to Krishna. Even if, immediately. And he looked at her and says, aren't you afraid? He says, afraid of what? She said, you go to hell if you give the dust, from your feet on God's head. She said, I would go to hell. She said, if it can give 1 minute of relief from his headache, I will go to hell eternally. I don't mind that. Now, that's pure selfless love. I want you to think about that for a moment. She says, I'm willing to go and suffer in hell eternally if I can give him 1 minute of relief. Now, when I think of that, it really, sinks into me how far I am on reaching that level. It puts me in my position of, humility of, wow, I think I love God. I want to think I love God. How selfless is my love for God? As soon as I'm put into little misery or difficulty, I'm copping out. So this is, sorry Harry, I'll come to questions in a minute. This is the deepest, we're talking, this is really going deep in terms of talking about love of God. It's not just an awe and reverence relationship. We need to take a deep breath and really think about this. How, like I said, this person, they just want to merge into the energy of God. Why? It takes two to have a loving relationship. And why do we all in this world as well? Why do people get married? Why do we all want to have people want partners. They want family. Then they want children. We want friends. Why? Nobody's happy living alone. People get lonely and depressed, and we all want a nice loving partner. We're all searching for love. We all want to love and be loved. Why? Because it is the nature of the soul. By nature, we've all had this loving relationship with God. So it's so natural. By nature, the soul is meant to be blissful. That is why we all want to be happy. We're all seeking happiness. We're all seeking love. But we're seeking it in the wrong places, and we're getting bitten. Love, happiness in this material world is a perverted reflection of what it is in the spiritual world. It's like an opposite. Perverted reflection. And so we get hurt, we get bitten. And then we become bitter, and then we think we just want to merge into some energy so we don't have to deal with relation. But actually, the sweetest, deeper aspect of loving, why we want companions, we want friends, we want family, we want loving relationship, because that's the way to actually really have real happiness. And that is why God saying that's the highest aspect of love in the spiritual world too. That's why he comes as Radharani, and then he expands as Radharani's friends, the gopis, 16,108 of them. They're all having a wonderful, loving relationship, a party, they're dancing. And sometimes people go say, oh, what kind of God do you have? He's having this loving affair with all these girls who are married. So one man once challenged our spiritual master. He sat down there and said, what kind of philosophy teachings do you have? What kind of God do you have? He's going out dancing with all these girls who are actually, married to other men. So again I said, it's a complete opposite in the spiritual world and in this world. My spiritual master took up to A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada and looked at him. He said, the man was sitting there and there was a woman sitting next to him. He looked at him and he said, who is that woman sitting next to you? And the man looked at him, that's my wife. So he said, you are the one who is having an illicit affair. You are the scoundrel. She is a property of God and you are trying to enjoy her. You think she's yours to be enjoyed. You are having an illicit relationship. Why? If something belongs to the person, just like I was telling Miguel's watch, he's got a wood watch, I take it and I enjoy it and I say, oh look, right? That's how. So same way we take God's property, everyone belongs to God. But it's not wrong when God enjoys with his own expansions, because ultimately he is the one that we all have that eternal relationship and we all are part and parcel of. So we really got to understand this. It's easy for people to point fingers when they don't understand this higher, deepest aspect of spirituality. And that's why this is such a deepest mystery. It's not everywhere and everywhere, because most people don't grasp that. But you guys here today are getting an opportunity to talk about the highest, deepest mysteries of love of Godhead. About Radharani, who is not, she's the topmost rare thing. And the rare things are often misunderstood. I could go on deeper to explain to you the people that they were married with were actually all expansions of God too. So it's not like God is, having an illicit affair with someone. If anything, it's all we in the material world are enjoying God's property, and that's illicit. So we put God in the center of our relationship, then that's all good.
How do you do that?
How do we do that? Like I said, we try to, everything we do, we put God in the center, meaning like, we're not thinking about our own selfish self. We think, what would Krishna, how would God be happy in this situation? Like whatever we cook, before we eat it ourselves, we cook food that's offerable to God, food in the mode of goodness, pure vegetarian food, which are of high quality, and then we offer it to God, and then only we eat it, right? We have a home. What do we use this home for? We use it for people to congregate here, to come here and have spiritual programs where we remind people of God. And it takes a lot of effort. Our Sarva, he was cracking up today. Right from the moment he woke up to now, he was helping us in the kitchen, preparing and cleaning and cooking. And he goes, Jiminy Crickets, he goes. That's his way of saying, whoa, does this ever end? It's like when you have a party in your house. Do you know how much time it takes to, we have a party every week. Right? And it's very auspicious, Sasha, to use for people your home. That's another way when you say how to do that. You use your home, you invite people to come into your home. We can do programs like this. You invite Maheshwari, invite different people, come to your home, gather a few people, talk about God, eat food sanctified by God. That's you using your house, your property in God's service. You talk about God, that you offer food to God. You know, everything you do, you put God in the center.
So in the one-on-one relationship, how do you put God in the center of the
Again, like I said, when it's a question of anything, we said, I personally would prefer to, if Maheshwari asked him, I would prefer to just sleep, right, instead of having a program like that. But he will say, no, he gives me the strength. He's very strong, willed, and he's just like, it's so much hard work. Can we have a break this week? It's so bad that I have a confession to make. Then we were putting the flooring down, I think a couple of weeks ago. And at the end of the day, the flooring and some things were still, and I was just like completely the limit. And that was a Tuesday that was supposed to be, like we say, the first and third Tuesdays we have, third Tuesdays we have this discussion. Second and fourth Tuesdays we do the chanting, Kirtan. That's one major way in this particular age, Sasha. How do we do that? How do we enter the mysteries of Radharani? We chant this Maha Mantra or Kirtan. That's such an easy way, but we're chanting the names of Radha and Krishna together. The same thing is done in the spiritual world. It says Golokera Prema Dham Harinam Sankirtan, which means this Harinam, these holy names of God, of Radha and Krishna, is happening there in the spiritual world. It's descended directly from the spiritual world. The thing about spiritual life or the bhakti process, the end and the means is the same. We chant Hare Krishna here, we sing and dance, we chant, we feast. We do the same thing when we go back to the spiritual world. We have a loving relationship with God, we chant, we dance, we sing, we feast. Whereas the other parts, like I said, this Vedantis we met, the end of Vedanta is you annihilate yourself. The means and the end is just like completely different. For us, the means, the end is the same. That's the beauty about bhakti. Even whilst we're doing it, we may not have the same taste because we haven't realized it. But once we realized it, we'll be in bliss. If we chant these holy names in a pure way, without any offenses, we'll be feeling bliss. And that's what's happening in the spiritual sky. They're just in bliss, chanting the names of Radha and Krishna, celebrating the unity of love of God with his part and parcels. And that's what they're doing there. They're celebrating this love of God and his part and parcels, and the love of God and his energy. Radharani, she's the embodiment of love of Godhead. So that's what they're doing there. They're celebrating that.
You can live in the spiritual world now if you know what the spiritual world really is, right?
Exactly. If we enter into that consciousness, but you say you got to come to that mood of that consciousness, a level of Radharani. Imagine the story of the dust from her feet. She is selfless. So when we enter in that kind of consciousness, selfless mood, then only, they say you can only chant the holy names properly. Lord Chaitanya came down and he said, Trinada pisuni chena, tororeva sehishnuna, amanina manudena, kirtaniya sadahari, which means you can only chant the holy names, really truly chant the holy names, this Maha Mantra properly, if you wear a garland of necklace around your neck, these words, which means try to be more humble than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree, respect every living entity. If you do that, if you have that mood of humility, patience, love, tolerance, compassion, only when you're in that mood, if you enter into that mood, can you actually chant God's names in a way that you will actually directly perceive God. And like Robert said, you can feel him here and now. You can see the spiritual world, the whole realm of spirituality will be opened up to you. You will get that realization. People, you hear these pastimes, these deeper pastimes of saints in our scriptures who chanting, and then suddenly they're lost and they say, what's happened to this guy? He's gone. He's beginning to actually, the spiritual world is, the reality of the spiritual world is opening up to that saint. He's feeling it, he's seeing it, he's actually seeing himself in there in the spiritual world, one of those people there having a loving exchange with God, and he's in ecstasy. Tears are flowing from his eyes out of ecstasy. His hands is standing in an and that's the Chaitanya Shikshashtakam. It says at the end of it, it says you're just like, you're trembling with ecstasy. The happiness is so much that this material body that we have can't even contain that joy or bliss. You need a spiritual body to contain that joy or bliss. It's just like as Bonnie was asking the question when we went this 4th July, we had these figures of Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, his big brown eyes and I was explaining to her that figure is a figure of God in ecstasy, that the eyes became so big. It's just like you can't even contain it. Especially this material body, we can't even fathom. We just don't know what bliss or joy or happiness is. The happiness we are trying to get in this world is like a drop of mirage that you see in the desert. We're chasing after. It's just nothing. So if we just really truly want to be happy, blissful, joyful, we need to enter in the mood of Radharani and serve Krishna in that humble, loving, compassionate mood, and chant the holy names of Radha and Krishna in that mood. And when we do that, then we will feel this true spiritual bliss and happiness. We need to give ourselves that opportunity, that chance, and stop running over this mirage of temporary flickering happiness in this material world. We put in so much effort for chasing after that. There's a story of this man who's walking down. One day he's so enamored by this beautiful lady. He's so enamored by this beautiful lady that he's holding the umbrella and shading her from the sun, and he's just walking like and then he walked past this great saint, and the saint saw him, and the saint felt compassion, said, this guy is really an illusion. He's just lost. He's chasing after some kind of, and that woman was a prostitute, right? So he's saying he's going after her. She's probably just going to ditch him, right? She doesn't really want to have a meaningful relationship with him. She's just going from one man to another. But he's so enamored that he's just forgotten his whole self, and all he's doing is just running after her, chasing after her, trying to serve her, trying to please her. And then he called this saint, felt sorry for him, and says, come here, sit down. He says, they were celebrating Radhashtami there too. And he says, I will show you the most. He said, what is it that you see in this woman that's capturing your heart so much? He said, oh, she has this most beautiful eyes that I just can stare at those eyes day and night. So he said, I will show you eyes that are more beautiful than those eyes. He says, come with me. He said, really? He said, yeah. He took her to this. Look at Radharani. This is the deity of Radharani in a place called Hungary, in a temple there. I love Radharani. Look at our Radharani up there, her beautiful eyes. There's a Radharani in Vrindavan, you just look at it, it's just mesmerizing. So he says, look at her eyes. Look at Radharani's eyes. Her eyes is full of love, compassion, beauty. And she says, be attracted to those eyes. Be attracted to Krishna's eyes. And go mad like that, go crazy like that for Krishna. And then you can actually truly get happiness. Let's fall in love with God. So, saying that, I know that we're coming to, I've probably gone over time. I'm going to end the lecture here. And I was thinking today we will also take this opportunity to offer some flowers to Radharani like we did on Janmashtami, because she never forgets. One drop of flower you offer to her, right, honoring her special day. And I also had a beautiful prayer to her. I was thinking we all take a moment. Radharani is the embodiment of love and devotion to God. Take a moment. Let's get into that deep prayerful mood to pray to Radharani, to unlock these mysteries and, to let us enter into the deeper realm of love of God and how to really serve God. And beg for her to allow us. This Hare Krishna Maha Mantra actually means, O my Lord, O energy of the Lord, O Radharani, O Krishna, please engage us in your service. Let's pray for that, because instead of engaging like that man in the service of this prostitute or other temporary things in this material world, let's pray to God to allow us this greatest treasure of engaging in their service, because in that lies all beauty, happiness, joy, peace, and our ultimate goal in life. It's our connection with God. So maybe if we have questions, we can carry on. Any comments, questions, we can carry that on whilst we have our prasadam, because I don't want to delay the program, so we can move on. And just before that, we will all take some flower petals. Miguel, there's some flowers there, if you can pass around that bowl. Take a little bit, but remember this time we're not smelling those flowers. We offer it to Krishna first. Once it's offered to Krishna, then we take them up and we smell them, and we, first God gets to enjoy it. Once God's enjoyed, we enjoy his remnants. That's the principle. So take a few pieces of flower. Everyone come up and please offer the flowers to Radha and Krishna, our Radharani up there. And then we will, whilst we're doing that, Sarva, can you do a little Kirtan, please? You want me to do it? Yep. And if you can do that, I can help guide the flower offering. Okay, alright. So do we have a little kartals? What is the little kartals I had? Can I borrow yours, Harry? Thank you very much. Thank you for sacrificing. So, please come and offer the flowers. You said you're going to take care of flower offering, so. Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadini Ashata Deshatadini. Your turn, everyone. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya. Can you play me down? Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadini Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. All are with love, with devotion. Names of the divine couple, Radha and Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Sing out from your heart. Go deeper. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
All right.
So, you for shouting for us, or you have some
Very good, huh?
Right.
Brajarani ought to be giving class all the time.
Speaking through me.
So, a couple announcements. We're going to do the Prasadam here in a minute, and we're going to have a fantastic dinner. Thank you all of you who've come. Thank particularly all of you who come and get here in time for the whole program, because it's encouraging when everybody's here when we start. And thank you for again chauffeuring all these people down from Santa Barbara.